Nordson Corporation is proud to continue to invest in educational opportunities through our sponsorship of Academic Challenge. Nordson is a global leader in precision technology solutions with a long and proud history of giving back to the communities where we live and work. Each year, we donate 5% of our U.S. pre-tax profits to charitable endeavors, prioritizing programs that support STEM education, human welfare, and arts and culture. To date, Nordson and the Nordson Corporation Foundation have donated nearly $173 million to charities, awarded $7.5 million in scholarships, and our employees have logged more than 117,000 volunteer hours. Thank you for watching Academic Challenge. Best of luck to all the participants.
Teams from
Chippewa, Rittman, Tallmadge.
Meet this morning on the Nordson Academic Challenge. And away we go. Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Rob Powers. We're so glad you could be with us today. The challenge of this show is very simple. For the next 30 minutes, our three teams will be tested on their knowledge of subjects like math, science, history. We've got a few other topics as well, so one more time. Let's hear it for our teams, Chippewa, Rittman, and Tallmadge. Today's winner will be the team with the highest point total at the end of our game. Here are the standings as they stand right now. This season's three highest scoring teams will be back to play in our 56th championship game for the chance to win the top prize of a $6,000 grant awarded by our friends from Nordson. We're going to start things this morning with the lightning round. All three teams compete in this round. I'll ask 10 questions that have a common theme. We award 20 points for a correct answer. We'll take away 20 points for an incorrect or no answer. We start each team with 100 points. Y'all ready to go? Try not to hit the wall here. Identify these questions. They're all about walls, real and fictional. Identify the following. Here we go. Much of this country's Great Wall was built by the Ming Dynasty. Chippewa.
China.
That is correct. Joshua made the walls of this biblical city come. Rittman?
Jericho.
That is correct. This is the two-word nickname of the left field wall at Fenway Park. Chippewa.
The monster.
Green Monster, we'll take that. The Monster, Green Monster, yes. The Wall is John Hershey's fictionalized account of the Nazi occupation in this Polish capital city's ghetto. Tallmadge.
Warsaw.
That is correct. An ancient wall built across Britain was named for this Roman emperor. Chippewa.
Hadrian.
That is correct. Michelangelo painted the Last Judgment on the wall of this Vatican chapel. Answer? The Sistine Chapel. 1989 marked the fall of the wall dividing this German city. Rittman.
Berlin.
That is correct. This biblical figure interpreted the writing on the wall and later escaped from the lion's den. Rittman.
Daniel.
That is correct. This nursery rhyme character had a great fall from a wall. Chippewa.
Humpty Dumpty.
Of course it is. Joining us for our final question this round, good morning, Cleveland, Power of Five meteorologist Trent McGill.
Good morning. Today's final lightning round question is, did you know that the planet Mars's gravity is 37% less than Earth's? This allows you to jump 3 times higher. But I still don't know if that would be enough to jump across a crater named for a science fiction author of novels such as Starship Troopers and Double Star.
Answer is Robert Heinlein, and that's the end of that round. Way to go, everybody. We are still tight. That's how we do it. We'll be back for the second round of today's game after a quick timeout. Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. If you'd like more information about any of the schools that appear this season, scan the QR code you see on the upper right-hand corner of your screen with your cell phone. That code takes you to the news5cleveland.com Academic Challenge page. We have links for all of this season's schools right there for you. Time for us now to play Hot Picks. One at a time, I ask each team 8 questions selected by the captain of another team. A correct answer here is worth 20 points. There's no penalty for a wrong answer. Any team that answers all 8 questions correctly will receive 25 bonus points. Before we get to the questions, let's meet our players. Kennedy, you are the captain of Chippewa. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Kennedy. I'm a sophomore, and outside of Academic Challenge, I participate in choir and drama.
Good for you. Welcome this morning. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a junior. I'm on the tennis team, and I'm in marching band.
Good for you. And Gavin, you're up.
Hi, I'm Gavin, and I play golf and tennis.
Thank you all three for being here this morning. For your questions, Chippewa, we go to Connor, the captain of Rittman. Connor, you got an open board, 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
You got it. Okay, Chippewa, these questions are all yours. All set? Here we go. Several years ago, the Mars Climate Orbiter burned up because NASA engineers forgot they were dealing with what system of measurement involving centimeters?
Metric.
That is correct. New states are admitted to the Union on different dates, but it's traditional to add their stars to the flag on what July holiday?
July 4th, Independence Day.
That is correct. A literary critic once described Julius Caesar's friend Brutus as a set of vocal cords wrapped up in what garment worn by Roman citizens?
Toga.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here is your science question. Which of these words refers to a gap between neurons across which a nerve impulse is transmitted?
Synapses.
That is correct. The arts may have flourished during her reign, but a peasants' revolt was brutally suppressed by what Russian empress known as the Great?
Catherine.
That is correct. You would not go to a concert to hear the 4 quartets because they are poems by what Anglo-American author of The Wasteland?
Frost.
T.S. Eliot, the answer there. That's okay. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. What is the perimeter of a square that has an area of 900 square feet?
120.
That is correct, 120 feet. The fossil remains of huge snakes that fed on crocodiles have been found in what South American country whose capital is Bogota?
Colombia.
That is correct. Way to go, Chippewa. Okay, our second team this morning comes to us from Rittman. Connor, you're back for another year. Tell us about yourself.
Hello, I'm Connor. I'm a senior at Rittman High School. I got accepted to the college of my choice, and I am an Eagle Scout now.
Good for you. Congratulations. That's awesome. Claire, welcome. Tell us about yourself.
I'm a senior at Rittman. I participate in several of the fine arts programs as well as National Honor Society, and I'm senior class president.
Good for you. Welcome this morning. Karam, how are you?
What's up, guys? My name's Karam. So I'm a senior at Rittman High School, and I'm the captain of the soccer team, and I am also the kicker of the football team.
There you go, man. That's a busy year. That's a busy year. For your questions, Rittman, we go to Nicholas from Tallmadge. 1, 2, or 3?
1.
You got it. All right, Rittman, these are all yours. All set? Here we go. Luther Burbank, who developed a wide variety of fruits and flowers, also developed a less spiny version of what desert plant noted for its prickliness?
Cactus.
Of course it is. So far, scientists have been unable to detect any appreciable atmosphere on what small planet closest to the sun?
Mercury.
Yes. The constellation Draco is said to represent what type of fire-breathing monster, such as that slain by England's St. George?
Dragon.
That is correct. For your science question, we go to the monitor. Which of these compounds has been used to seed potential rain clouds in order to cause rain?
Sodium hydroxide.
Silver iodide is the answer there. Sorry. More than 40 castles and fortresses line the banks of what major German river that flows into the North Sea? Answer is the Rhine. The Rhine. Many fans of horror novels will eventually read Everything's Eventual, a collection of stories by what modern author who also wrote The Green Mile and The Stand? Answer is Stephen King. Stephen King. Let's go back to the monitor. Here's your math question. Which of these angles has the largest supplement? Answer?
130.
That is correct. Marco Polo used the phrase splendid island to describe what Indian Ocean country whose modern capital is Colombo?
India.
Sri Lanka is the answer. Good job, Rittman. Way to go. All right. And that gets us to Tallmadge. Nicholas, you're the captain. Congratulations. Tell us about yourself.
I am a sophomore at Tallmadge. I am in the marching and jazz bands, and I do robotics club and Boy Scouts.
We're so happy to have you here this morning. Thanks for being here. Hi, Maeve.
Hi.
Tell us about yourself.
I'm a freshman at Tallmadge. I play tennis and I run track.
Welcome this morning. That gets us to Riley. Hi.
Hi, I'm a junior at Tallmadge High School, and I play varsity tennis, and I'm also on the junior executive board.
There you go. All 9 of you. Thank you so much for giving up your morning, your time to come and be on our little program. We really appreciate it. For your questions, Tallmadge, Kennedy, you're the captain at Chippewa. We are down to 2 or 4.
2, please.
You got it. All right, Tallmadge, these questions are all yours. All set? Here we go. Artist James Whistler might have had a different career if he hadn't flunked chemistry at the U.S. Military Academy in New York, known by what name?
West Point.
That's correct. The grandfather of writer Herman Melville was one of the colonists who participated in what anti-British event that took place in Boston Harbor in 1773?
The Boston Tea Party.
That is correct. Second only to the Nile, what great equatorial river in Africa is 3,000 miles long and shares its name with 2 different countries? Answer?
No answer.
Is the Congo. That's okay. Let's go to the monitor. Here's your science question. Which one of these instruments can convert sunlight into an electric current?
The electrolysis apparatus.
A photoelectric cell can do that. Several monuments in Montana and Idaho honor what same Shoshone Indian woman who helped guide the Lewis and Clark expedition?
Sacagawea.
That is correct. A modern author brought new life to an old story when he added zombies to what Jane Austen novel about the Bennett family?
No answer.
Pride and Prejudice. We go back to the monitor. Here's your math question. If a parallelogram has an area of 45 and a base of 9, what is its altitude? Answer?
9.
5. 5's the answer there. The world's oldest continuing parliament is the Althing in what North Atlantic country whose capital is Reykjavik?
Iceland.
Iceland is correct. That's the end of that round. Good job, everybody. Oh, we're still tight. We'll be back with more academic excitement right after this. Hey, welcome back to the big show. Courtesy of Cuyahoga Community College, this is Christopher Hedrick. He's the preceptor and academic coordinator of clinical education for Tri-C. We're so happy Christopher is back with us this morning. 2 weeks in a row. Welcome back. Before we get on with our game, let's take a look at the scores so far. We do have a tight one. Tallmadge, 200 points in 3rd place. Rittman, 240 points in 2nd place. Leading the way, Chippewa with 320 points. But hold on. This is our picture-perfect round. All 3 teams compete in this round once again. I will ask the questions that all have to do with a visual element that you'll see on the screen. For every correct answer, we award 20 points. For a wrong answer or no answer, we take away 20 points. So hands on the buzzers, eyes on the big monitor down front. All set? This is the American snake bird, which ranges from the southern United States as far south as what country, whose capital is Buenos Aires? Chippewa.
Argentina.
That is correct. Choice. A chemical element having an oxidation number 3 is said to be which of these? Tallmadge.
Trivalent.
That is correct. This gemstone comes from an island in what long, narrow sea separating Egypt and Saudi Arabia? Rittman.
Red Sea.
That is correct. Evaluate this expression if C equals 17 and A equals 15. Tallmadge.
2.
That is correct. China's Boxer Rebellion broke out following a 19th century war named for what drug produced by poppies? Rittman.
Opium.
That is correct. The crew of Apollo 17 gave these names to what 5 small animals that traveled with them to the moon and were similar to the fictional Stuart Little? Rittman.
Mice.
That is correct. Vermeer's Woman in Blue reading a letter can be seen in a museum in what capital of the Netherlands? Tallmadge.
Amsterdam.
That is correct. This Cleveland magazine cover features the cute but fierce river otter. This aquatic mammal belongs to which scientific order classified by its blade-like teeth and mostly meat diet? Rittman.
Carnivore.
Carnivore is correct, and that's the end of that round. There we go. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with today's Mix It Up round. It's coming up right after this. Let's meet our school advisors from Chippewa. Margaret Schaefer. From Rittman, it's Lance Larison. And from Tallmadge, Sean Mulroy. We've seen them before. We welcome them back this morning. Time now for the Mix It Up round. One at a time, I ask each team 6 questions. A correct response here is worth 20 points. No penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 6 questions correctly in this round receives 25 bonus points. Chippewa, you're up. These are all for you. Here we go. You won't need to go that far to find here the hidden name of what Central American country that was invaded by U.S. forces in 1989.
Panama.
That is correct. Though the sun is not made of tar, you can rearrange the letters here to name what planet sixth from the sun.
Saturn.
That is correct. These 3 19th century events did not take place in this order. Arrange them chronologically. Answer?
Reconstruction, John Brown's raid, and the Louisiana Purchase.
Sorry, it was Louisiana Brown, then Reconstruction. Okay, here you have definitions for what 2 words that sound alike, but they are spelled differently.
Homonyms.
We're looking for the actual word.
Okay.
Answer?
Air.
And? You've got it. I mean, you've said it. So it's air and air. That's what we're going for. 2 words that sound the same. Okay. Your score numbers will increase if you know which of these choices names the number of molecules in a mole of any substance.
Avogadro's number.
That is correct. This phrase was used to refer to what crop, also known as maize?
Corn.
That is correct. Way to go, Chippewa. Okay. Rittman, you're up. Ready to roll? Here we go. You won't need this type of protection if you can find in this phrase what word naming the public square of ancient Rome. Answer?
What? Aurum?
Excuse me?
Aurum?
The Forum. The Forum. Sorry about that. Don't be an also-ran, but rearrange these letters to get what name shared by a large Canadian province and one of the Great Lakes. Answer?
Toronto.
Ontario. Ontario. Here are 3 examples of communication. Arrange them in chronological order.
Cuneiform Morse code emoji.
That is correct. Here you see clues for what pair of 1-syllable homonyms.
Wade and Ways.
That is correct. These 3 things don't have much in common. Which of them would be classified as a mineral?
Mica.
That is correct. This insight comes from what Renaissance Italian artist who painted the Mona Lisa?
Da Vinci.
That is correct. Way to go, Rittman. All right. That takes us to Tallmadge. All set? Here we go. Hidden in this phrase about Nevada is the name of what Swiss city linked to the conventions dictating the treatment of prisoners of war?
Geneva.
That is correct. Rearrange the letters in this phrase and you can name what flying horse of classical mythology.
Pegasus.
That is correct. You'd find these in your history books, but not in this order. Arrange these events chronologically, beginning with the earliest.
The Emancipation Proclamation, the Northwest Ordinance, and the Prohibition Amendment.
Northwest was first, then Emancipation, then Prohibition. Here you have the definitions of what 2 words that sound alike but are spelled differently.
Pale and pale.
That is correct. Which of these is the hepatic organ of the body? Answer?
the liver.
That is correct. This despairing remark was made by what nationalist leader of India, who was called Mahatma by thousands of admirers?
Mahatma Gandhi.
That is correct. That's the end of that round. We'll be back with our final and deciding grab bag round. It's all coming up after this.
Chris.
All right, welcome back. This is our final round for all three teams. Hands on the buzzers, eyes on the monitor when we need it. All set? It's a big round. Let's go. In 1807, Aaron Burr became the first and only former vice president to be tried and acquitted for what crime? The only crime specifically defined in the Constitution. Rittman.
Duels.
Treason. Treason is the answer. Leonard Wood was the general officially in charge when the Rough Riders captured what Cuban hill in the Spanish-American War? Chippewa.
San Juan.
That is correct. The colorful tape used for important documents by Spain's King Charles V led to what popular two-word term for delay causing bureaucratic paperwork? Rittman.
Red tape.
That is correct. These blue flowers grow near the home of what Nobel Prize winner, the author of The Bluest Eye? That's it. Don't answer. That's the buzzer. We go right to the scoreboard. Here we go. In third place with 360 points, the team from Tallmadge. In second place with 400 points, it's Rittman. And the winner of today's academic challenge with 470 points, it's Chippewa. Be sure to join us next time. We feature teams from Beechwood, Edison, and Elyria Catholic. Thanks for watching this one. I'm Rob Powers. Study hard. We'll see you right back here next week.